Hey guys, this is Davy Russell from IncredibleSmoothies.com, and I've got a very special treat today because I spent an hour chatting with one of my heroes, Ka Sundance from the SundanceFamily.com. He's been a major influence in my life and Tracy's life as we turned our green smoothie blog into our life's work, and he also inspired us to live in Mexico for 6 months. If you're not familiar with Ka Sundance, he's he's a father of 6 kids, and he and his wife and their 6 kids travel the world almost nonstop. And he is an internet entrepreneur. He makes his life's work helping other people find their life's work. So it's pretty awesome that, what he does for a living is helping people do what they love for a living. So I was really excited to have the opportunity to chat with him, and we talked for about an hour, and it was an incredible, inspiring, motivating interview that I had with him, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So here we go, my interview with Ka Sundance.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I'm honored.
thank you so much for chatting with us. I think one of the things you're probably most known for is being a world traveling family of 8, which is pretty incredible. I don't know how you travel the world with 6 kids, because sometimes taking my 1 3-year-old to the grocery store feels like this massive production. I don't know how you do it with 6 kids.
Yeah, well, they have not been falling from the sky. One after the other was introduced to us in our lifetime. So, like we say in Germany, you always grow with challenges. You grow with the challenges. And I felt sometimes more challenged with 1 or 2 children than I feel now with 6, because the oldest one is already 15. He's not like, I don't have to wipe his bum anymore. I always have to do this just with the very little one. So it's like the bigger ones, they keep on growing, and they need less caretaking somehow,
Right.
and even our support now to the smaller ones. So, and as we are very tight as a family, and we have been traveling since ever, basically. I met my wife 1997 in New Zealand. So that was more than 20 years ago already, and we have been traveling ever since, basically. The family and the kids have been growing up with this kind of international lifestyle, traveling the world, and we're very tight, so we support each other, we look after each other. That is what happens if you travel, because you have to just rely on each other. You have to take others into consideration and to work as a tribe, as a family, very well together. Otherwise, we would not do what we're doing, and that makes it easy, or that makes it fun. I feel like we enjoy our life very much, and even though there are still hardships, it's not all easy, to travel.
Right.
The family is often. I love, as I'm into natural foods and stuff, I love to garden. I cannot have any garden or something. We don't have any animals for our kids, so there are also downsides on the other hand as well.
So let me ask you this. I mean, you live a very, I guess you would say, non-traditional life. I mean, you live a life that a lot of people would love to live. And what made you decide to let go of the traditional career path, to buy the house in the suburbs and, work a job for your whole life? Like, what made you decide to do that and even leave Germany in the first place?
Well, I have to say, it's not that we didn't try. We tried to, because believe me, it's also exhausting almost to be always so special and so different, and to have to do it your way, So we tried it. We in 2000, I think the most normal time we had in our life was 2005, 2006, after we did an extended road travel with our 2 sons at the time. We had baby number 3 in Germany. We were also very poor. We were on social benefits back then. And we tried it. We tried to go in a house and have a job and, pay the mortgage and the insurances, and to, watch television in the evening, and to do everything you're supposed to do. Like, what they say you're supposed to do. And we just realized, man, it just doesn't make us happy. That was I think that the realization was just the option, and we tried it. It just doesn't make us happy. We don't feel like fulfilled in the evening. When I was going to bed in the evening and I was watching my wife, or we looked at each other in the eyes, we both feel like, man, something is missing. It can't be it. This is not fulfilling life. And then I think the difference now from us to other people is that we didn't accept this unhappy. It was not like totally unhappy, but it would have turned into this eventually. But even back then, we felt like slightly unhappy. And a lot of people, I feel too many people on earth, are just accepting this, that this is just the way it is, I guess. You just work a job and you just, you pay your taxes and you send your kids to school and you get the vaccinations and you watch the gaming shows, in afternoon TV and we just decided this is not going to be our life. We just decided to find a better way. I think I cannot put it more complicated, or it was actually very simple. We just didn't like the way our life was leading, and we just decided to do something against it. And it took us years actually to figure out, how we can make it work and what exactly that would be. But it all started with the decision to not follow down the road that I saw so many people we're surrounded by becoming unhappy. Would not be us. That we decided.
So, I mean, I don't get the sense from watching your videos for so long that you guys came from money or that you necessarily had all the resources to do what you were doing now when you first started. Is that true? Like, I mean, it was a process, right? I mean, you had to start.
Exactly. Again, like I told you, we were on benefits. We then left to England because another thing was the educational part. Our son didn't want to go to school. He was so unhappy, when he went to kindergarten. And that made us think and question the school system. So this is why we went to England on a loan. We took a loan from the bank. Our parents are not rich. We don't have any money, didn't have any money back in the time. So we took on a loan and went to England. And then in England, we worked basically 3 jobs, 24 hours. I was working a night shift job in a home, a hospice home for people who were sent to die. My wife was working a job at the till of an organic food store and on the till on an organic clothing store. So we were basically working 24 hours a day. And on top of this, and we had to receive, in England it's called housing benefits. So the government was supporting us to pay the rent basically and to buy also some food. And this is really when everything switched. And when we realized, man, if we're going to continue what we're doing right now, we're going to live a life in poverty our entire life through, to then end up in even more poverty when there would be time for retirement. And we wouldn't see our kids. That was the most awful part, the realization. We wouldn't be seeing our kids if we continue this life. And this is when we say, well, whatever it costs, whatever it takes, we're going to have to change something now. And it's true. There was no we didn't have any financial support. We were, tens of thousands of dollars in debt actually at the end when we started also taking another loan to start our business. But there was no money, no support. Our parents hated what we were doing. I'm just a carpenter, so I don't have like a fancy education or any of that sort. It was a decision. It was not the condition. It was a decision that made our life.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned something about like your parents not liking what you were doing, and I'm sure when you announced your plans, I know when Tracy and I told our family that we were moving to Mexico, it was met with some pretty shocking reaction.
Exactly. Start a blog. We're gonna go to Mexico. Start a blog. See how your mom reacts to this one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They did it. They were thinking we were crazy, and it was not just us. We had already 3 kids at the time,
Right.
And we basically left England. Then we started also all blog. This is what we realized, man. We just want to start to blog, about our experiences about natural foods and raw foods, and this is what we started, what our realization, our way out, our plan was. But we didn't make money at all in the beginning, and then we decided to go to Costa Rica on a one-way ticket with the blog, and we had we had published an ebook, but we didn't really make money that would sustain a family, or 3. And on number 4, we were pregnant with number 4, and we left to Costa Rica on a one-way ticket. And our parents, they were shocked. They were like so afraid and so this hateful almost, they couldn't understand how we would do we have so little responsibility in their eyes, to not stick to an unhappy job. At least it would be safe, they said. I said, well, we are in poverty. I cannot finance my family with that job, and now we have baby number 4. Still, they wanted us to stick to that paradigm.
Right. Which wouldn't
crazy if you ask me.
Right, and that wouldn't necessarily improve your situation either. I mean, just because you have a job doesn't mean you have the money to take care of a family. I know that's definitely the case in the United States, but a lot of people are struggling to make ends meet, even though they work 40 hours a week or more. So I want to ask you, do you have any anxiety or worst case scenario thoughts when you started down this path?
Of course, yes, especially me. My wife always was that crazy. She always felt like You know, we were going in before that. We were going on a world tour with our two sons, and we didn't have any money. We were basically landing in Sydney airport after spending all of our savings, which was like $1,000 in Thailand. You know, we used them. It took us a month or 6 weeks to use them all up. And then we went to Sydney, Australia, and we had literally $50 to our name. And we landed in Sydney airport. There was no place to go. We couldn't, again, ask our parents for money. There was no money to expect it from our parents. No savings, no place to go, no job, nothing, you know. And my wife always had this sense of security. She always thought, we're going to make this work. And we always did also. I was not that cool, you know. And I really also, thanks to my wife, who always supported me, who always, like, you know, also helped me somehow, you know, because I was the provider of the family. Back in that day, I was a carpenter, you know, and I was looking for like jobs here and there to just finance our life. And I felt all the responsibility to look, you know, to provide for my family, you know, like most men and husbands, I guess, do, and fathers do. Mm-hmm. And that was heavy on me, you know. There was a lot of fear, for sure. But then on the other hand, when we lived in England, I just, you know, the fear or the frustration about the life we had created for ourselves was just bigger than the fear of trying something new. I just realized we cannot go on like this and live a life in poverty, doing shitty jobs, and having no vision to change that. There was like you cannot climb up a ladder in a health food store sitting on the till. There's not much room to make a great career out of working in a health food store. You know, filling up shelves then is the next, you know, station in your career. So the fear of being stuck in a life I was sure unhappy with was bigger than my fear of trying something new. This is how I moved my ass.
Yeah. I can relate to that. Yeah, sure. So you mentioned that you mentioned the situation when you guys your family went to Australia, and you had you actually posted a video a couple months ago where you talked about that, and you also said you met someone. You guys you were like deciding whether to spend your last, you know, €50 on, you know, lodging or food. And
that's right, yes. So the story goes like this, and I have several of those stories to share, but this is the story that happened in Sydney. We were landing, we had $50 to our names, and we had the decision, either way, we would spend those last $50 on a hotel and just would have no food basically to buy for our kids. Or we would spend those $50 a little bit more wisely and buy like a train ticket to the suburbs and buy a tarp and just go somewhere in the woods and sleep, you know, under a plastic tarp somewhere in the woods, and have $20 left to buy some food. And crazy enough, we just said, well, you know, screw it. We just go in the hotel, and we spent all our money in the hotel. And the moment I was walking in the hotel and putting the $50, I was letting it go, and, you know, seeing the guy sitting on the reception there, it was exactly $50 for that night. And I was letting go of this $50 bill. He just looked up and he said, man, we're just remodeling this hotel. Would you not be interested in working here and, you know, getting a job? I pay you. And so that was the magic of the last cent to my name. I was just literally letting go, and then a new opportunity was arising. And I experienced this many times on this world traveling Australia, when we were just hitchhiking and didn't have any money left. And then a guy took us in the car, and he just, well, I need to need a carpenter. Do you want to work for me? We were going in this car with no money left. So I have many times made this experience that we're safe. There's always a new opportunity. When the door closes, a new door opens somewhere. Right. And helped me to understand my fear in a better way, because I still have this fear. You know, now as an entrepreneur, having $1 million business, I still have to make very scary decisions of now investing not $10 or $50, but $100,000. So I still feel that part of this fear is still there with me, but it does not have the power
right
over my decision making as it used to be. So that is something I really learned from those very poor days, that I'm safe. I shouldn't be worrying too much. It's good. I'm held, and the more I trust, I feel, you know, the more I trust, the more I can not listen to my fear, the better my life gets. You know, I still sometimes, when I follow the path of fear, it usually never turns out really well, or that I feel more safe decision. I don't feel more safe. I follow the fear. So I feel like it's very often we just go where the fear is. We go where, you know, I'm afraid of this. Well, man, that means I got to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's served me well in building and, you know, and growing my business to a very successful company now, to those big experiences back in the day when we were so broke and so poor.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned that you still have fears even today. And someone asked me a couple months ago, you know, after, you know, I quit my day job back in 2008, like, you know, how did I get over the fear of, you know, where my income was going to come from? And I said, I didn't. And so I guess the point is, like, you don't have to get over your fear first. You just have to learn to live with that, manage it, and recognize it for what it is. And you know, you touched on that one.
I like this more because, you know, the getting over your fear, of fighting your fear, it gives that image in your head of being like a warrior that has to like fight. You know, I don't see that I have to fight with my fear. It's more like you said, it's like getting to know it better. You know, I'm more familiar with my fear, and I'm no longer resisting it so much. I'm no longer fighting it at all. That's how I feel. It's more like I take it, I embrace it. I take it. It's like I would embrace it like an old friend, you know, in my arms. Ah, there you are again. Yeah. Come on, let's give you a hug, and you know what? Let's move forward together now. You know, I see you. I appreciate you and being afraid and telling me, you know, trying to tell me something here. But let's, you know, let me embrace you, and we go together through that fear. You know, we move there together. That's how I like to see it now. And this, it was taking this harsh fighting, going against parts of myself. It's part of myself, this fear, you know, and going against it and going against myself. It didn't really, this is not how I like to perceive it. It's like I'm more in tune with my fears. I feel that they're more me. I'm no longer resisting.
How can a person learn to trust their intuition that what they decide to do in life is the right thing to do? Because I mean, you know, talking about your example of when you arrived with your family in Australia with, you know, very little money left to your name, you know, some people are going to think like, oh man, if I quit my day job and travel the world or do this or that, like it's going to be reckless. I'm going to end up bankrupt, homeless, worse. How can someone learn to trust their intuition and just determine whether their intuition is leading them in the right way or if they're being reckless? Or can you provide some perspective on that?
Yeah, I think that we are far too used, by the way, I believe to a big degree because of the school system, that we are far too used to be comforted by our excuses and to be okay with not being okay for some reason. That people feel like, again, like it's supposed to be that I'm unhappy. It's supposed to be that I gotta work hard, don't see my kids, and live a life that is not, my soul is not in alignment with. People tell themselves that they are supposed to be okay with that. And I think this is a big part of questioning this paradigm, questioning this and being not okay with it. If you're unhappy, if you suffer from the current situation, you have every right, and not just every right, I feel like you have a duty to change this, to change the situation. And I think this is a big shift in thinking that a lot of people don't get, that they like just play along and make a happy face to an unhappy life. To me, that's not acceptable. So that's number one, you know, that you really understand and appreciate you being unhappy and then doing something about it. Number two is to be more in harmony with a dream, with a vision, with a positive life, you know, with what could be, what beautiful things could be. And the more you focus on this and you picture yourself, you know, being that person, or living that life, the more motivation you will find to just do things, you know. So that's the second part. Really connect with things on a very emotional level, to really picture yourself and feel yourself, feel the feeling having achieved your goal. How does it feel? That's just where motivation comes from. And then what also helps is, like, you know, to really ask the question, well, what is the worst that could happen? You said you could be homeless or worse. So that's how the brain works. But actually, what could be worse than homeless? You know, I think this is the most bottom you could get in your life, to just lose your home or getting homeless. But even then, you know, I'm right now, I'm recording this in Costa Rica. Being homeless in Costa Rica, you just in Guatemala, we travel a lot through third world countries, as we do a lot of social work also, and project we support money and our, you know, our media reach we have. And being homeless or without a job in a country, in a third world country, is a hell of a lot different than being like this in Europe or in the United States. We have like a welfare system. We have usually, the worst thing you could honestly imagine is like you would starve to death. There would not be any food left and I would just starve. So I think this is, or maybe your brain would even then try to add on this fear, like, or even worse. I would starve to death or even worse. This is how brain works, and it's like totally like illogical. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It can't get any worse than starve to death or, you know, or be homeless. But honestly, is this and then the next question, so imagine the worst thing that could happen. And the next question after you imagine this, and you don't shy away from this, is like, can you say with 100% certainty that this is going to happen?
Right.
You know, and then you just realize very often that those fears we have and we're resisting are very often made up or exaggerated to a degree that is totally unrealistic. It's just not, it's never going to happen, you know, or it's so unlikely at least. You know, this is like a 1% chance that this is going to happen. So will you base your decision to stick to unhappy, unhealthy reality because there's a 1% chance that this positive, amazing thing you want to create is not going to happen? You know, so just to really dig in your fears and understand them, become friend with them, and see that most of them are totally, you know, blown out of proportion. And I think these three things, you know, if you apply those three things I just mentioned here, you know, you imagine what could go wrong, you connect with your dreams, and you aware of how unhappy you truly are right now. Those three things can really help you to move mountains.
Yeah, I loved what you said about you know, realizing that your fear and your worry is really creating a fictional scenario. It doesn't. I think there's a very famous quote, and I forget off the top of my head who says it, but you know, it's worry is a misuse of your imagination.
Yeah,
You probably heard that, and
yeah. So true.
yeah. Okay, so I'd like to ask you now. Some people are probably watching this video and they're like, I mean, there's no way I could do this. You know, people have a lot of excuses, and you know, some people might have, you know, have like, well, I've got a family, I can't do it. Clearly, you've blown the lid off that excuse. Or like people say, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the skills, there's nothing that I do that's valuable enough that people would pay me for. I mean, can anybody live this lifestyle? And if anybody's watching this with excuses as to why they can't, like why Ka Sundance is so special, but I can never do that, what would you say to them?
Again, I just want to remind you guys, I'm an uneducated, I'm a simple carpenter. I have a big family. My parents didn't support what I was doing. I did not only have no money, I had a lot of depth. You know, I had no education. I was very depressed at times in my life. So, you know, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. There was no way, no reason whatsoever that could have made me believe that this is going to work out. You know, if you want to live a happy life, I think this is a basic rule. You need to be willing to take some effort and to move forward. And I always like to call it like the Tarzan method. You know, you don't wait for the perfect plan. You don't wait for the funds to be there, for the better camera to start doing YouTubes, or for your parents to support you, for your partner to support you, for yourself to give yourself the allowance. All of this does not matter. All you need to have is at least an idea in which direction you want to go. And then you just start grabbing onto the wine and swing in that direction. No plan. Make a plan of not having a plan. That's how I like to see it. There's a lot of thought behind not having any idea what I'm doing, you know. But I know at least the direction. I don't even possibly know the exact goal where I want to end up. It's not necessary that you need to have a specific goal. I need to just see clearer where I want to go. You don't need that. It's a perfect excuse to just keep on sitting on your sofa and being unhappy, being miserable towards yourself and your partners and your family. To just get up your butt and move in the direction. I also like another picture, it's like stumble forward. You don't know where to go exactly, you know, don't plan, you just stumble in the right direction. And by just getting off the sofa and stumbling forward, you all of a sudden going to see around the corner of a house and see like, oh my God, this is a shortcut right there. Or there's a taxi for free giving me a ride, you know. but you don't see this taxi or the shortcut if you're gonna sit it on your sofa. So just get up your bum and just move one little baby step in the right direction. If you're gonna do this every day, this is how people climb Mount Everest. It's one step at a time, and not having the plan, not the support, nothing of that. One step at a time. That's what I have to say for people who want to change.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Because I think a lot of people feel like they need to have everything in order. They need to have the finances. They need to have this, that, and the other thing. And I keep meeting these successful people that don't. And that certainly was not the case when I quit my day job either. I had debt. I had income coming in. I just, like you said, used the Tarzan.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, that's worked out for me. And obviously for you too. So let me ask you, so if, let's say there's somebody watching this video and maybe they're on their break at a job that they hate, and they're watching this video and they're gonna be like, okay, I need to do something today. What's one thing I can do today that will get me closer to the life that I imagine for myself?
Well, it's like I said, it's the policy of small steps. One step could be to just, just as an example, you just go on our website. We have a free course. We have a free course that can help you. I can give you some inspiration. So 1 hour course, you just go on our website, you sign up there for a free inspiration. One thing, or you go, watch more videos of Davy, or you just, you go on YouTube and find some inspiring people to hang out with. I think another big part is also not to find to overthink some of the relationships you have. If you're surrounding yourself with people that don't support you in like growing and like living a better life, but they keep you stuck where you are, you need to rethink those relationships in a great way. This is why we have YouTube these days. There's so many good people and inspirations out there on YouTube, or just make a Google search, and find some people that you resonate with and learn from them. Learn from people that are where you want to be, and surround yourself. Get their books, get their programs, hire them as coaches. Get closer to people that you feel inspired by and that have achieved what you are achieving. Find a community of people who have similar goals than you have. Find some new friends, develop some new small action steps, and again, just move. Stop sitting around and just make the policy of little baby steps is the policy of success.
I want to ask you a little bit more about what you do. I'm sure people are wondering, like, what you do. You have a website, you have a YouTube channel, and this is primarily how you fund your lifestyle, right? How you're able to, support your family.
That's right. We started, like I said, 2010, when we were just basically doing videos on YouTube about our the way we eat, because we healed our son. He used to be very sick. He had a chronic asthma. Nobody could help him heal him, and so we changed our diet towards a vegan, and to that point of time, even a raw vegan diet. And I was starting doing YouTubes about that, and people were following us, and then they asked us, "Well, what do you eat? Do you have some recipes? What does it mean? How can I make delicious food for my kids?" And after the 100th comment, we were just putting our most favorite recipes together in a little ebook, and we're offering this online. And people were buying this thing. And that gave us the confidence then 2010 to move on this one-way ticket to Costa Rica when we just started out with the business. And when Costa Rica, then people all of a sudden ask, "Man, you're going with selling an ebook and you're living in Costa Rica now? How does that work? Can you show me as well? I want to pay you. Can you show me how you did this with the social media and ebooks and stuff?" And this took a little longer because I resisted becoming a business coach. But eventually people were just throwing money at me and forced and asked me, about my advice on social media and how I was like, doing the market research. I was selling an ebook and making a living off that. And this is when I started becoming a business coach. And I was doing this for years, actually, just on Skype, helping people. And then I realized after some years, that there is a pattern for me, that I teach the same principles. I discovered just, that there were principles, and I was teaching them over and over again, and I got a little tired of doing this again and again and again with you people on the phone. And so I had this idea of putting the system that I have created just by itself, by helping people from all around the world, hundreds of coaching sessions, to put this into video, into video form, so I don't have to say the same things again and again. I was putting it in a structured way in modules, and put it in an online course. And that was the birth of our online business school, 6 modules. And we started offering this online business school for heart-centered people, for alternative people, not for everybody. This is just for people who are, vegans or who are into like natural healing, healers, authors, coaches, these alternative people, those are the people I help. And we went online with this 2012, I guess, with our business school. And we offered and improved it ever since. And that's still up to this day, our signature program. We have more than 1,000 people in this business school. So this is a $1 million program, or it made us way over $1 million so far. And has helped us to create hundreds and hundreds of successful businesses. And right now, it's no longer just a business school. This is a movement. We had for the second winter already, that was the second winter now, 2016-17, we had 200 people on a lonely island in Thailand. By the way, the island that you saw one of my first videos from, because we still go to this called Koh Phangan. And we had 200 people, 100 people, adults and 100 children, to spend months and months together from November till March, live together, work together, have the kids play together, and grow business together. Businesses that have the goal to help and heal people around the world. So we have these, we have really a tribe of people, a very close tribe of people supporting each other and living together even, over the winter time. And it's going to happen again this winter. So this is a movement, a business movement that has emerged out of people asking me how I was selling an ebook. It's amazing. That's our main thing, how we make money these days.
Wow, that's incredible. And you said that you didn't set out to be a business coach. You didn't start out going where you are now. Like this, where you are right now, was that even an idea in your head back in 2010?
No, I did not. Honestly, I had no idea. And this is also, I was resisting this because in the early days, I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel like I had the education. I'm allowed to teach business. But again, as we had already been selling an ebook and making money, people were seeing this as enough credibility, or that was enough to my people. This was more my own ego telling me I'm not good enough. But I was already, because I was selling successfully an ebook, and I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the the best coaches there are, the most successful coaches, to learn online marketing. I'm fascinated about this, like I said before, about the internet and the ability it gives us, good people with good intentions who will really want just to live in peace, and want to end wars and to create a good life for our children. It's a very basic need that I and my people have. We don't ask for much. We just want to live a happy and peaceful life and like to avoid illness and disease and war and I believe, and this is not a future dream. We have created this already. I just have the intention to make this grow because I still see that there are some people who don't get it, who still live in fear and who don't see the solutions that there are everywhere. And my really life work is to support good people in growing and helping more people, and as this ripple effect to really heal the world. That's what I'm doing, and I do this. It happens now that I'm doing this as a business coach somehow. It's odd how life sometimes plays out, but the foundation to everything, and that's maybe the basic inspiration to people out there as well. I was following what I believed was the right thing to do. I followed my passion to share information circling around health and healing. This is how I got started, and it transformed now into this amazing business movement, which is really interesting. But it's all right. Just sitting here on the stairway.
Oh.
That's another I'm sitting here on some stairs right now because the water park where I'm recording this video, I'm recording this my daughter's birthday. It's so loud, so I'm here in the backyard of this water park, and here's some guys wanting to pass. Also funny, talking about my big life vision, and then I have to have two guys that through on the staircase here.
So real quickly, you have two programs that you offer on your website. One is the Do What You Love Business School, and the other one is the Do What You Love Mindset program. Can you tell me about these?
Yeah, the Mindset program actually, and we very often now package this together with our business school, because in my belief and in my experience, having helped hundreds of entrepreneurs from all around the world, I would say I'm always going up and up and up with these numbers. My latest numbers are in this, that 95% of success in life as well as in business is all in your head. You can have all the right website, the right wording, expensive sales copy written for your programs, you know, the marketing right, Facebook advertisement campaigns in place. Everything can be right. If you don't believe in your success, if you believe whatever, have negative self-sabotaging beliefs, it's going to fail. It's not going to be working out. And the other way around, it works as well. And you and I, we are good examples of this. If you can have a shitty website, no marketing, no coaching, no consulting, no support, an ugly, cheap camera, you know, to do videos with, you just have your cell phone, you have nothing in place. And you can become a billionaire and reach 1 billion people with that. So both actually is possible. And to make use of this, that's why I've created this mindset program, is to support people to get hindering, blocking, self-sabotaging negative beliefs out of the way. And the only way to do this is to first understand them, because a lot of our self-sabotaging beliefs, I believe, we're not even aware of. Mm-hmm. They happen on the subconscious level. It's like old programs we have taken on from, sometimes even from our grandparents or far beyond that. Some of these old stuff, and it doesn't even really matter where it comes from. I'm just saying a lot of the stuff is not even ours. We just took it on. Some of the stuff we took on, some things we learned early on in our lives, and it's the same program, unwinding. And the first step is always to help yourself understand why you do what you do. Before that, even why you think what you think, you know? And then once you understand it, this is always the most crucial part. Things can then from there on disintegrate or integrate and you know, be integrated very easily. But that's a big part of what I do, to help people understand why they do what they do. And from there on, you know, stuff can be integrated, and then you can replace it by some affirmations and some positive, you know, new habits. But that people often don't understand. You just affirmations of just, you know, I'm rich, I'm healthy, I'm good. That doesn't work. If you underneath believe that you're not safe and that you should be poor because it's more spiritual, or only bad people are rich, or there is a limit to the success that I'm allowed to have in my life. You know, whatever, there are like a gazillion of negative thoughts can be, and they're different from person to person. But as long as you have those beliefs subconsciously installed, you can affirm all the positive things all the way you want until you're blue in the face. It won't work. You know, you're self-sabotaging yourself. So that's what this is why I created a mindset program. Also, as I'm studying personal development since 20 years, I went to a Buddhist silent monastery 1998. So that's 19 years ago. And since then, I do meditation retreats. I learn, you know, all the big religions. I study a lot of these things and understand. And I've been facing a lot of my own demons and fears, you know, so that I have an understanding for this. I've been coaching so many people since decades already. So that there are patterns. I see patterns. And this is, again, a way of me helping people to just live a more happy and suffer, torture-free, suffer-free life, to not suffer so much. And by, you know, having this mindset program and teaching people this as well. But it's just tying into my bigger vision of helping people to become business owners, because I really want to change the world. I truly am. We need this. The world is not all at its best right now. And I believe that it's going to be people who beyond themselves, you know, really help beyond themselves. And right now, the form to me is just in form of a business, that you dedicate your life to helping and serving. And you don't just in your free time, but you skip a job. Don't do a shitty job. Make helping and serving your job. And this is the only way to do this in form of a business, because you need still money to pay the bills, you know. And so mindset is still, I see this in the bigger picture of, you know, creating enlightened entrepreneurs all around the world.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about the mindset aspect. That is so critical, and that's awesome that you have a program, because I've seen a lot of like entrepreneur programs and they just focus on the steps, but a lot of them don't focus on the mindset, which I agree with you is, I think you said it was like 90% of success. So
95%. I keep increasing those numbers. 95%, I believe now. It's like the biggest part is mindset. It's not the website or the marketing.
Right. Yeah. So then your other program is the Do What You Love Business School. So that, I assume that takes you through the steps that you need to do to learn how to create an online business, right?
Exactly. It's six step. We add a seventh in there. Six step. I just very briefly. You just identify what it is that you want to do. Find a market in alignment with this, and you need to create a foundation of your business. You didn't need to know what you're doing. For what person, with what problem do you offer which solution? It's a three-step sentence. It's feared by my students, but you should be able to formulate your business in that way. What person, which problem, which solution. If you have this, then the second part is to just create the website. Build your stadium, as I like to call it. The third step is then to get people in that stadium. It's the marketing. And we have I think 20 marketing methods in our business school. 19 of those are for free. So how you can just get people in the stadium. So then in the fourth step, when the show is over, when they read your blog post or they watch your video, to grab them, so then they not just leave the stadium and you're never going to see them away. They click away from your website, and this you do by creating like a free gift, a free offer, and an opt-in option on your website. So all the traffic goes to your website, and you have like a freebie, a free gift to capture their email address. So then in the fifth step, survey your people. It's very simple. Ask your tribe, how can I help you? How can I serve you? And by listening to your people and asking them, they will see what kind of products and services they want from you. It's a thing they often do wrong in the spiritual movement, where I have been writing this book and I just want to promote it now. This is not how it goes. You have to ask people. You have to see a market to ask people what they want from you,
Right.
and bring this in alignment what you want to give. So that's the fifth step, to do some research, and then create a product, and then in the sixth step to market it. Then to create like a funnel. And we go more in depth into this in our program, but this is just for everybody who wants to just get the idea how this works, how an online business works. This is how it's done, and the last part, to market it, and to market it on a constant base, and find strategies here to get seen by people with the product as well. That's how we teach it. That's our system, since I teach since many years. And again, it has created like hundreds and hundreds of successful businesses all around the world.
Yeah, I really wish your program existed when we were starting with Incredible Smoothies back in the day, because I had to figure all that out on my own. And there were certain people that helped me along the way, but a lot of this I had to figure out. And having a program like that just that takes a lot off your learning curve, and it accelerates when you can have someone that can coach you along like that.
On the other hand, I'm not making an advertisement here, but I feel like a lot of those structures or techniques you also find like free trainings or YouTube videos about. What I believe is even more important, and I say this again, is a mindset. You need to have the right frame of mind, and this is where I really emphasize in the way how I teach business, to really help people to get all those negative beliefs out of their head, that you're supposed to be successful, widely successful, also financially successful as an entrepreneur, helping and serving. That's something a lot of people have problems with. So it's the mindset, what I feel very different with what we do. And the second is, again, is the community. You want, like you said before, when you told your mom, I'm going to go to Mexico and start a blog, nobody was supporting you, I believe. And it's still to this day that people are not really supportive if you tell them, I want to create an online business, So what you need here to set something against of being blocked by your family and not being supported, by your family and families and friends and your neighbors and everybody, is to have community. And that's what I'm really big in, because I know how much I suffered feeling so alone and not supported by my mama and daddy, but nobody could get what we were doing. And then the raw food thing on top of everything, and homeschoolers, and we felt for long years so much like outsiders, and we suffered such a great big deal from that I have rephrasing this and saying like, we are no outsiders, we are trendsetters. We are the trendsetters of the good tomorrow that is about to come, because the community and the good people are growing in numbers. People are waking up. They are no longer taking all this bullshit from the government and from the systems and from the media. People are waking up these days, and we have the internet, thank God, to accelerate this process. Propaganda has never been harder for institutions and governments than these days, because there is the internet, there is free speech, there is YouTube, and this community is so important, I believe. If you're different, if you feel different, if you want to make this work, you need to find people to support you and who take in a similar way, and people who are 2-3 steps ahead of you. And that's what we are doing. And I'm bringing together people. And a big thing about what I believe in, what our community is about, that there is no competition. I don't believe in competition, because I believe in you being so unique with your gifts, and the way, even if it's the same business, you're going to have your specific way of wording it. And I'm always encouraging people to find their own voice, to be 100% authentic and real. And the more authentic and real you get, it's not possible to copy you. You know, it's impossible. And so there are like 50 vegan bloggers in my tribe, and we all support each other. You know, we learn from each other, we support each other. And I think this is a big part about business, doing business, not in a competitive way, but doing it in friendship, in harmony, in unity, as a community. That's what I'm about, and that's why we're also so successful, I believe. That's why we're so successful in what we do, and our people are so successful.
So you talk about competing businesses working together in harmony. How does that work? Because, I mean, the reaction you get when you see a competitor is to try to outdo them, or your fear that they're going to steal your business. How do you work with a competitor in harmony?
I don't see competitors. Nobody is able to compete with me, because I am Ka Sundance, and right. I'm the guy with the 6 kids, and the guy who has this history that nobody else has, and this view of seeing things nobody else has, and the same goes for you. So I would always encourage everybody, you know, you can try to copy me. I would even, you know, if you feel like you want to do that, well, go ahead, just try and copy me, see how that turns out. I don't believe that this is going to be a successful, you know, approach in business or in life at all, to just copy something exactly and, you know, imitating. Because again, a big part of success is if you step in your power, if you share what, you know, in your voice, with your words, the gifts that have been given only to you by God. You know, that's the only way how I see can really be successful. I see people trying also to copy what we are doing, you know, but then I feel almost like a little sorry for them, or I'm for sure not bothered at all. I just say, well, go ahead, give it a try, you know. We even have this as we're in Germany, you know, we're a market leader in Germany in what we do. There is nobody like, you know, there's not a lot of business coaching anyways in Germany, and then there's nobody doing an authentic business coaching. So we had some people who bought our programs and who copy this now, and I support them even. I support them because I feel like, well, if this what you feel you're doing, well, just go for it, you know. So I don't feel I don't sense and feel competition. That you cannot compete with me, and nobody can compete with you. The more you concentrate on your uniqueness and you being you, there's just no second you possible. It's just not possible. I believe it's an illusion. Competition is an illusion coming from a fearsome mind, believing in it's not enough. I'm not good enough. The other ones are better than I am. From this kind of illusionary thinking, competition arises, and I like to believe that I see life more real, more realistic, and in my world that it's not possible. Competition is not possible.
That's awesome. I think that is definitely inspiring to hear for a lot of people who might be thinking that, man, the internet is so saturated. There's so many people wanting that thing. How can I stand out?
I ask you, Davy, did you buy a recipe book in your life? Have you been buying a recipe book? So one could say, if you come with that mindset, it's like, man, Davy has been buying a recipe book. He never, ever in his entire life gonna be buying another recipe book because he has one already. Yeah, that's the way of thinking you're referring to. People gonna buy recipe books because they like recipes and they want to have new recipes. And with our recipe book, for example, it's really the irony, and it's a perfect example. Almost all of the recipes I was selling in this book, and we made tens of thousands of dollars with this book, I've been giving for free on YouTube already. So basically, you could have all this knowledge for free on YouTube, but people still buy my recipe book because they want to have it in a bundled way. They want to have it delivered from me in my way, with my forward, with my conclusions, with my little add-ons. So if that would be true, what you're saying and others are thinking, nobody would ever buy another recipe book because they have already some. Do you see where I'm getting with this?
Yeah.
People will crave more information. They want to have, especially they want to have it from you right now listening to this, wherever you're watching this or listening to this on earth. You have a unique gift, a unique voice. You're special, and people want to know it from you. They might have been hearing it from 10 other guys already, but you're unique, and you have a special way of reaching people that have never been touched before, because you are special. And the more you can understand the truth of this, the less you're going to live in fear, and the more authentic and successful you're going to become in business.
Okay, guys, we're almost at the end of the interview, and the last question I asked him was if he had anything else that he wanted to share. And he said yes. And what he said was maybe not the most comfortable message to hear, but it was definitely a message that was empowering and inspiring, and something that we do need to keep in mind. I hope that you take what he says to heart and start working on creating a life you love today and not putting it off for tomorrow or someday. Make someday today.
The last thing I want to share here is coming out of my experience having worked in that hospice, in that place where people were sent to die, basically. And the message I want to share with you is in regards to that experience and the other experience going to the silence monastery, where I'm 10 days in silence, just meditating. The monks there, what they teach you and what I experienced in that hospice is that there's only one thing for sure in life. Everything is going to be taken away from you, and you're going to die sooner or later. And if you have several thousand people listening to this right now, it's very likely that one of the people listening right now is going to die in the next week. It's not unlikely to say this, and it's not very popular, and I'm sorry if I'm frightening you right now, but that's the thing with the truth. It's not always comforting to hear the truth. One thing is sure, you're going to die. And believe me, also one thing, after having worked in that hospice, even people 90 years old and terminally ill, the day you die, it comes to most people as a big surprise. It comes like you don't expect to die the day you die. Most people, and you very likely also, going to experience that. So where I'm going with this, if you accept the truth that you're going to die, and you're going to die possibly sooner than later, and for sure one day it's going to happen, it's the only thing that's for sure, where does this leave you with? Knowing that you're going to die, and you're going to die rather sooner than later. The only way where this is going to lead you is towards living a fulfilled today. And it's not about reaching that. It's not about reaching all your goals before you die, but it's getting your butt off the sofa and getting on the way. You can happily die on the way reaching your goal. But you're gonna die, and this is what I experienced in this home for elderly people. Most of the people I hold hands with, and they were breathing their last breath, they were holding on. They were suffering. They were giving themselves a hard time. And what I heard most often is that those people in the last moments of their life, they were saying, "Man, I regret. I'm filled with remorse. Because I wish I would have spent more time with my family. I wish I would have followed my dreams. I wish I would have been a little bit more crazy." This is what people facing death, what they tell me, and I've seen over and over again. And I wish so much right now for everybody listening to me and hearing those words that this is not going to be you. I wish I dedicated my life to inspire people to not have these last moments in their life, but to see and feel, man, maybe I didn't reach all my goals, but I was trying. And I was moving in the right direction. This is how you can die happily. And I wish for us all to be able to die happily. But the only way this is going to happen is by you really questioning some of the things, some of the areas in your life you have settled with, you have been okay with, that are not okay at all. So in the face of your own death that is coming rather sooner or later, what are you willing to do today? There's little things, a little tiny thing you're willing to do today to get closer towards more happiness. What would you tell your parents, your mama and your papa, if you would know you would die tomorrow? What would you talk to your people that you're surrounded with? How would you talk to those people? Would you be going to work today? If not, what would you be doing today? I invite everybody right now to live a life more in face of death, because it makes you truly alive. It puts things in the right perspective that we're trying to avoid by buying more insurance policies and putting another lock on the door and buying another gun and putting it under the pillow. It goes to all Americans out there. In Europe, we don't do that. But you're dying. How is this changing your life if you know that you have a certain death in front of you? That's my inspiration. Do what you love, spend time with your family, spend time with yourself, and stop bullshitting and fooling around yourself, and do what you love. That's my message, man.
So thanks once again for joining me, and really, really appreciate you taking the time to chat.
I appreciate you as well. All the best, guys. All the best. Thank you, Davey, and everybody. Bye-bye.
Oh man, wasn't that fantastic? I felt so pumped up at the end of this interview. He said a lot of really inspiring, motivated things. I loved what he said about competition, about working in harmony, and that nobody can compete with you. I know that's something that I've struggled with a lot, feeling that there's so much already out there. How can I make a difference with my own voice? And I loved what he said about that. I loved what he said about a lot of the stuff in this interview. So if what he said really resonated with you, I highly encourage you to, go sign up for his free training, see what he has to offer. You can also leave a comment on this video too, because I'd love to hear your reactions to this video. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.